Hey everybody, this is Sherry with Butternut Hollow Crafts. Hashtag old lady with tools. Let me get myself on the screen here. Hey. So I've missed you guys. I haven't been live for a while, with the holidays and all that. And I am going to be doing a class here in February on this. My January one that of a different thing that I'm doing is already sold out. But so I wanted to I'm bringing you guys up on my phone right now so I can see other comments. So anyway, so I wanted to go live and kind of show you what we're going to be making in February. You will get two options. I'm only going to do one option today, but I will show you the other option at the end of the live here so you can see it. These both will also be offered as a kit or or for the in-person class. I am working on some classes maybe that we can do over Zoom or something in the near future, in the new year and all that. I haven't got that all figured out, but I am working on it, you guys. But just know you can you'll be able to choose if you want it in a kit or do the in-person. Hi Sheila, how you doing? I know I haven't seen you guys for a while. I miss you guys. So anyway, I'm gonna turn the camera down and let's get started. It's just a fun little project. You guys can let me know what you think. Okay, so we're gonna do it's like a little picket fence. It can be a door hanger or a leaner, doesn't matter. You can use it either way. The fence looked like this. I cut it on my laser, but I went ahead and painted it white because we're gonna distress this and all this. And this project does have several little pieces, but I'm gonna show you an easy way to paint them. They paint up really fast, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So this fence, I did, like I said, I painted it white. Today I'm using all farmhouse products. I like it because they have a top coat built in, and once you're done painting, you don't have to seal them or anything. So that's why I'm using farmhouse today, and I just really love the paint. So, like I said, here's the fence. This is the base of the project, and all these were cut out on my laser. And we're gonna distress this fence because I can't have a fence um, look all crisp and nice. Um, I like white picket fences, but I actually like ones that are a little more grungy. So I got my plate over here, and I put a gray on here. Let me get back in camera. I put a gray on here and then a black, and that's what I use to. I want to add some dimension to my fence. I want to maybe grunge it up a little bit, whatever. And this is how I do it. So I put my paint on my plate, and I did squirt some water on there. I watered it down a little bit. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to fold it several ways. And I actually take my brush and I'm going to dip it in this gray and then I'm going to pat most of it off. So this is kind of like a dry brush technique that I'm going to use. I love grunge too, Sheila. And then you're just going to, I try and stay as straight as I can and just do one sweeping motion and then come back. And I do that several times until I get the look that I want. Because everybody's idea of grunge or rustic is different, and I get that. So I do it this way. And this is just using a gray right now. And you can even do this if you like if my layer of white was still a little wet. It doesn't hurt. It just blends it in a little bit. So I just kind of keep going over it with this color for right now. And you can already see how it's toning down that white. I'm hoping the camera is not glaring too much. So I get the gray on there how I like it. And I actually want more of the gray showing, but yet I want those little peaks of white so that it looks like it used to be a white picket fence. But then over the years of being in the elements, it has aged. And then using the same brush, I don't do nothing else different to it. I'm going to dip it in the black. And again, I'm going to refold my napkin. And we're going to pounce it off. And the black's a little bolder color, so I really want to make sure that I get that pounced off. I didn't fold that napkin very well, did I? It's okay. And now again, and this step I don't do in solid strokes. I make them just a tad bit more random. I might go up and down. It's hard for me. Hi Rita, how you doing? Hope you guys had nice holidays, all you people that are watching. You can do in long solid strokes. I guess I do a little bit of both. It's hard for me to explain. That's why I just thought I'd show you how I do it. And I don't care that I have more black in some spots than I have in the others. To me, that just adds to the dimension, so that does not bother me at all. And there is my picket fence. Now, I really like that look. So we're going to set this aside and let this dry. And we're going to move on to the pieces. And I need to get rid of this paper towel before I stick something in it. And so now we have a bunch of little pieces on this. So how I'm going to do this is this way. I'm going to take, I save my tape pieces, and this is that painter's tape method. And I'm just going to fold it and try and keep everything in camera and lay it down like that. Now I'll be able to paint several different colors on here if I space my pieces. So we have a little red piece. So I'm going to put the red in front of the piece that it does. I kind of, I guess I should tell you, when I have a project that has a bunch of pieces that need several different colors, I have separated my pieces according to color. So now I'm just going to bring them in and stick them on this tape according to my color piles. And so that's what I'm doing. And this over here is going to be a yellow, and then I'll bring my yellow bottle and I'm just going to set it right in front of there. And then what do we want to do? We got an orange over here. So we'll set a couple orange pieces down there and put the orange in front of it. And here's some gray, and it's going to be the same gray that I used on to grunge up my fence. So I'm just going to put them there, and I'll just take that right off my plate. And then our words are going to be in like a steel graphite. So we're going to set that there. Now this is enough pieces for us to get started, and this paint dries really fast, which is really nice. And so we'll get to painting them. The white pieces, when I painted the fence, I already painted them, so that wouldn't be. Oh, hi, Chris. How you doing, sweetie? So, we don't have to worry about the white pieces because I already painted them because it took a couple coats. Now, I like to use these makeup sponges to paint. And you see that little perf right there? All you do is pull it apart. And I use these sponges, guys, until there literally is hardly anything left in them, because I snip them off from color to color to color. And I get the most bang out of my buck for these little sponges. So we'll set the big, and I'm using the little end just because my pieces are little. So let me get another paper plate here. And we'll just start with the yellow. I'm just going to go right on down the line. All this is probably going to need a couple coats. So, but I take my little sponge, dip it in there, pounce it off. If you pounce it off, you have less chance of it bleeding over your edges. That stuff doesn't really bother me, but if it bothers you, I suggest you pounce that off. And then when I dip it back in, I'm dipping it in the area that I pounced off. So you're less likely to get globs and runs and all that. And so I just get one good coat on there and you're gonna let that dry. And we're just gonna move right on down the line. Unfortunately, I can't like just squirt out a little bit. So what we get squirted out, we get squirted out, and we're not gonna worry about it. So again, we're gonna pounce it off just like that. And we're gonna paint our words. And like I said, this craft project, whatever you want to call it, this project, let's call it a project, will be offered as an in-person class in February, or you can get it as a kit. So, and now I should have opened this orange before I went live because it never wants to open. But I need some more little sponges. So what I'm going to do is, these right here, we're just going to slice these in half because I can get 2 uses out of these very easily. And if I would have sliced them a little smaller, I could have got 3, but we'll go with 2. This is the gray paint that I'm dipping in here that you can't see, that I used to grunge up the fence. And I want these to be gray. So that's why I'm doing that. And we'll get the orange. And I know it probably looks like there's a lot of pieces, and there is, but they paint really quick, guys, and they're not, it's not like you have to be super careful or be a, fine graphic artist to paint these. So I think even if you had kids, you could let them do this because of this taping technique. That's another reason this taping technique is really good. It's for kids. You don't have to worry about them trying to handle it with their little fingers. Heck, I get paint all over my fingers if I do it. So the red I'm not going to squirt out because I need so little. I'm just going to dip it right out of this lid. Should you do that? Probably not. So do as I say, not as I do. But anyway, we only have one little red flower. I couldn't see squirting a bunch out. Same with the blue. We have one little blue flower, but I can't get the lid off, so we're going to have to squirt it. Well, hey, Roycycled Treasures, Happy New Year to you. I was missing my peeps. I had to come live, Royce, and just do a fun little craft, just to get it out of my system. So, and now we're just going to go back and we're going to just put a second coat on all of this. And so that's how we paint all these little pieces, as you can see. I love the sponge. You could use a stencil brush if you didn't have the makeup sponges. You could paint them with a regular brush if you wanted to. I just really like using these little sponges to do these little pieces. I even do use these sponges to stencil with, to be honest with you. Some people use a stencil brush, which is great. I just feel like I have more control over the amount of paint I put on by using these sponges. I think it's whatever you get used to. There's not a right or wrong way. So we're just second coating all of these pieces. And on that fence, if you really, really wanted to grunge it up, you could take, if you had some permanent ink, you could grunge the edges up that way. I will not be doing that to this fence because this fence is one that I'm going to offer as I'm going to use in my class as the sample. So, and they don't have access to the ink. Yes, Sheila, I love the sponges a lot. Now, a tip about the sponges I will tell you guys is look for the ones that are fairly stiff. You don't want like the real soft, spongy ones. I'll look up what brand I have here. You used to be able to get them at the dollar store, the Dollar Tree. They quit carrying them for a while. I don't know if they carry them anymore. When I found out they did not carry them, oh, where am I at? I went online on Amazon. I found them, and I use these are latex free. It's just called Cotton 2 makeup sponges, and they're really like a makeup blending sponge is what they're for. So those are the ones that I buy. And I bought a case of them because I use them in my classes and I use them a lot. I don't think you have to buy a case. But Dollar Tree, you know, when COVID hit or whatever reason, they switched their brand and those were really soft and spongy and I did not like them near as well. They didn't seem to want to pounce like I wanted mine to pounce. So I went on the hunt and found these on Amazon. So all these look pretty good for the second coat. I may just give the yellow just a quick third coat. It might not have been absolutely necessary, but we're going to do it. And now the thing I like is I can pick up this tape and I'm going to move this up out of our way and we're going to finish painting the rest of the pieces. Let me get that mouse out of the way here. Okay. And like I said, I reused my painter's tape a couple times. I can get a couple good uses out of it, so I don't know that I need this big of a piece, actually. So let's tear this. Just put it down there. And then we got some little cute greenery here that's going to go on the fence. And I love that it just sticks on the tape. And then this is an old pickup truck that's going to have the flowers in the back end. That's what this design is going to be. But these have to be green and the truck's going to be a different color. And I will show you how I do that. It's very, very easy. I think we need a new paper plate because those plates look like they are filled. For the greenery, I'm using a color called Sage Shadow. And I need another little sponge here. So, oh, hi, Cinder. Glenn has a crush on me. Well, tell Glenn I love him too. You're funny. So now we're going to tear these little ends off again because I like the little ends. And I am going to go ahead and cut these in half. Let's see, I need one for the green. I think that's all we need. And then a big one for the truck. So there's that. So let's get the green painted. And again, this is why I love sticking it down on this tape. My hands would be so full of paint if I was trying to hold these and paint them that this technique I absolutely love. And then this truck back end has got to be green too, so I just dip them. Cinder. And see how I just see that straight edge on that sponge? It's great for just getting right up next to this truck. You don't even have to get anything on the truck. So yeah. Now these things are pretty fragile, but that's what's nice. You lay them on a flat, hard surface and you can just pounce away, and you don't have to worry about snapping them off or them breaking or anything. So there's that. Then we'll just come back here and give this a second coat real quick. And usually 2 coats will do it. And like I said, this paint dries really fast, which is nice. And it does have the top coat built in. So if you decide to make this and hang it like on your door on the outside, you would get some protection. I don't recommend you putting it way out there in the elements, but I don't recommend that with anything, even if you have, unless it's done with solely outside products. I'm going to give this a second coat. So I want to show you guys, because you will, if you buy a kit or ever work with laser, you see on this truck where they got this like shadow brown stuff right here? That's from being cut on a laser, like on the fins. Now, sometimes light colors that will bleed through. That does not bother me because I think it looks aged. If you do not like that and don't want to see any brown stuff whatsoever, or any of the, nothing that looks like a shadow coming through, all you have to do is prime this first, or you could paint everything with your top coat, a clear white top coat. It will seal that in, and then you can go ahead and paint it. This does not bother me. So I shouldn't say normally, I do not try and seal it in. It does not bother me. So let's move these out of my way. I am going to let the green on the truck dry a little bit and show you how I can take my paint, and I use it as a stain using a baby white. I want to slide that way up out of my way. When I'm working on small pieces, I like to use paint as a baby wipe. Hang on, or I'm sorry, as a stain. And I like applying it with the baby wipe. So, yeah. So I just take my baby wipe, tuck my 2 first fingers in there, dab it, and rub it. And I try and make it look as even. And if you want it darker, let this dry a little bit, go back and put a second coat on. I don't care if mine's not exactly even, because I want this to look aged. I want it to look like an old pickup truck. So if this stuff is not perfect, to me, it just adds character and more dimension, and I'm fine with it. It does not have to be perfect. And thank you guys for hanging in here this far, because I know there's a lot of pieces, but wait till you see it come together. It's very cute. Or I thought it was anyway. So that stuff's all stained, and we can set it aside. And now we're going to do the old pickup truck. I want this to look like an old pickup truck. And so I have decided I'm going to use this blue. It's called Pigeon Blue. But if you remember those old pickups that were like a bluish green or whatever, this is close. But to me, that just, when I see that color, it reminds me of the old vintage style trucks. So, and again, we're just gonna paint it just like we did those other pieces, just by pouncing with this sponge. I'm just a little careful when I go around the greens. But if you do get paint on the greens, all you gotta do is let it dry and repaint them. We gotta do the tires on this truck yet too, don't we? Okay. Let's see here. And again, because of this flat edge, this allows me to get right up next to those greens and not really worry about getting it all over the place. So we'll let this coat dry a little bit because this will take a second coat. But what do you guys think of my truck? You like my old truck? I thought it turned out pretty cool. I'm going to put a little black on there because I am going to have to do the wheels here when we're done. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a first coat on the wheels while we're waiting for the blue to dry. Let me paint this one and then I'll show you guys something. Now, if you notice, I got, that's not real nice and smooth. I don't have to worry about it because this line right here is just a scored line, which shows you where to put this fender. And so that will all be covered up. So it makes it kind of nice that you don't have to be super careful because it can be fixed. Or it should be covered up, I should say. It could have been fixed too, but it's going to be covered up. You're never going to see it. And I actually like to go up over the fender line a little bit, because that way, if you don't get your fender on their exact position, you don't have to worry about seeing a bare spot. Oh, look what I did. That was not cool, Sherry. We are going to put these fenders down over here. I almost forgot to paint the fenders. Oh, thanks, Cinder. So we'll give this a quick coat because it's going to need a second coat. So let's just, there we go. And we're going to rust this truck up too. So I'm not like super concerned about the paint being, perfect on there, because old pickup trucks usually have rust, and the paint will be worn off more in one area than the other, and that's exactly what I'm going for. So and I got one coat on that fender that's going to be covered, and I'm okay with that. I do want to get the back end though. Thanks, Sheila. I'm glad you like it. Oh yes, Rita, we're gonna rust this truck up. It's gonna look like it's been sitting in a field for many years. Let's just say that. Okay. We'll give these a second coat real quick. And now I'm just going to set them aside so they're out of my way. Look at what I did with my sponge, guys. talk about so I don't have to get paint all over my hands, and then, yeah. That's what you don't want to do, okay? Because, yeah, now I got a mess. But we are going to make it work. We are. And again, I want to go up into that fender a little bit. Then I don't have to worry about being so exact on the placement. Okay. So now I think our painting is done. I think we are ready to assemble. Let's bring our fence back in. Get all of our pieces here. But I have got to do one more thing looking at my stuff here. This is the headlight for the truck that I had painted white earlier. And what I want to do is make it look, I don't know if I want to call it grungy, but I don't want it just to be one base color. I want to give it a little more dimension. And since I have my paint right here from the fence, we're going to do the same thing. And I use scraggly brushes because I think they make better lines. But I'm going to tape this down so I don't have to try and hold it. And then I'm just going to make some light lines on there and do the same thing with the black. I just don't want to overdo it this time. I'm kind of making them go in the direction of like a light beam. So like that. Okay. Now we can set this stuff aside and get to assembling. So here is our fence. And the truck, I want to dry these wheels a little bit so they don't get on my fence. And then I'll lay it out for you guys to see it, how it's all going to go together. I got to stand up. I want the truck to at least be on here straight. I have just a little bit. I'm just a little bit OCD about that stuff. What kind of? I think I want it like that. And we will rust this truck up. And there's a front and a back wheel well. And see how this comes together. And I think I'm going to go ahead and glue this on here as we go. I think I will like it better if I do. So I'm going to flip this truck over. And I am using super glue. That is usually what I use in my classes too. That's usually what I will put in kits because it dries fast. The only time I don't put it in a kit is normally if it's for a kid. And then I Lots of times I do not put glue in the kit. I tell the parents just to use like an Elmer's glue or whatever, because I don't want to be responsible of them gluing their fingers together, because that's what's going to happen. I can tell you. Okay, so we're going to position that truck kind of just like that. We're going to put the headlight on here. And if you notice, I positioned this truck enough so that I caught a little bit of that cross rung, so that I would have something to glue this headlight to. If you don't, you don't have anything to glue the headlight to. And then it makes it so that you can't get that headlight to stay on. So I like to give it enough room to give me something for the glue to bite to and the headlight to stay. And you notice these scored lines right here, those lines I showed you, that does help in placing this. I don't think you'd have to have them. They're just a little extra measure. But I think you could put the wheel wells on, fenders, whatever you want to call them, fairly easy without them, because it goes over the wheel. So I don't know that that is a must, but and then I got the hubcaps or the rims, whatever you want to call them. And I just put some glue right down there in the fence and pop those little circles in. You see the truck coming together, isn't it cute? And everything is sticking good. And so now what we do is you got to kind of lay this out. See, this is the rack on the truck. So that goes like that. And that's just a piece of greenery that looks like it's coming out of the back, just to give it a little dimension. We can put our running board on. And we can put our little door handle on. This truck is very detailed, I think, but I also think that's what makes it look kind of cool. And then I kind of look at this rack and see where I need glue, because obviously you got some open areas, and I don't feel like we need to put glue where there's open areas. So I usually try and just hit where I think we need glue, but yet it's not going to. You're catching enough of that greenery, I guess is what I'm saying. So you have something to glue to. And this is going to go right there. Maybe just a smidgen more glue, because this piece is going to look like it's coming out of the back end. Okay, now I want to put a little flower there. And then so let's put a little glue on the back of this little flower. And I'm going to kind of center it, or eye it, I guess. Just like that. And then these little pieces, you just want to dot, but you want to make sure you got plenty of glue on there. But if I laid that down there, that glue would ooze out. So the trick is to take a wet wipe, dry paper towel, anything, and dab that, because that will take off enough glue where it doesn't ooze, but yet it leaves enough on to where your piece will stick. But since these pieces are little, you do want to make sure that you have enough glue on there. You do want them to stick down good. And we will be doing the center of these flowers, but I'm going to wait because I got several flowers and I do that at the very end because then I can let it lay and dry. So now we're going to put some flowers on. We're going to string some flowers across the top of the fence like that. So I've got my jute and I'm going to cut a long enough piece because I'm going to weave it. I go in through the front and then around the back and then out of those holes. Whoops, be careful. So let me kind of position this. Make sure I have enough pull through. And you do that for every one of them. And then we just really just glue them down. The jute mainly, whoops, the jute mainly is for looks. Did you see I did that wrong? We want to come through the front toward the back like that. Just like this. And we will adjust this jute once we get all of these strung and see where they need to be. And then we can adjust it all. Okay. So we kind of want, I like to stagger these just because. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue down this center one. And then we'll work our way out to the edges. So kind of figure out where you want that one. There's not a direct placement. You got to kind of push it down and smush it because that jute's behind there. And give your glue a chance to set up. The more glue you use, the longer it takes. And I did put a substantial amount on there because I wanted to make sure I had plenty. See how that's still really wet? It's because I have too much on there. So dab some off. It will speed up the dry time. It does not want to stick, does it? Well, it's because I'm not letting it dry, but it'll be fine. I kind of want them at an angle here. Why won't you stick? Okay, let's do this. Okay. There we go. And then we're just going to adjust the jute on these. Enough to where, yeah, where it looks like this is hanging like that. And then we'll bring the jute around and glue it in the back, which I'll show you here in a minute. But that little sucker does not want to glue down. Okay. And they don't really have to be glued down, I guess, because of the way we're gonna attach them in the back. I guess if they wanted to hang, I don't think it would really hurt anything, honestly. So let's, and while they're drying, we can go ahead and add the center of these flowers. And I'm just going to put a little dot of glue in the center of each one. And the blue flower is just a smidgen smaller than the rest, so it needs a little smaller circle, or inside, I guess you want to call it. And I just kind of eye it. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Hold it for a minute. And these flowers are going to go like they're in the back of the truck. Kind of, not no rhyme or reason. Just wanted to look like we had a couple flowers in the back end of the truck. Like so. There's that. And now we got to work on this garland. So what I like to do is go through this fence like this. Do I want to come through the back? Let's come through the back of the fence. Let's see. There we go. And then I am just going to tie it off on the side. That way, if your flowers come unglued, it is not the end of the world, and they're not going anywhere anyway. So and then I'm just going to knot it however you want to knot it. There's not a right or wrong way, guys. And I don't mind if a little bit of it hangs off there, because I like that look. You can tie these on any way you want. There is not a right or wrong way. Oops. This doesn't want to go on there, so if you ever have something frayed that you're trying to get through a hole, take your painter's tape. Just run it around that tip of your string or jute or whatever, and it will come right on through. And then we will double knot this. Just like that. So far, that's what we got. Whoops, let me see. What do you think? We got to rust the truck up and everything, but we got to um, do the center of our flowers, and we have a sign that's going to go on here. And the sign is going to go about like that. So and then this goes on there like that. And so we're going to glue this down. Like so. And this is a very narrow piece. So you may get glue on your fingers, but I just wipe it off right away. I can't avoid it. But you do want to make sure you got it in the right spot. And then that's where our words come in. And like I said, this is going to be a class, or you can buy it in a kit, but you'll have another option, and I will show you the second option when I get done, because I realize not everybody's into farm stuff. I am, but not everybody. So the other option is not farm. But I'll show it to you here. See, and then the sign goes like that. Just get your letters in the correct spot here. Okay, that doesn't look horrible. Let me dab them off. And you don't have to use super glue. If you had like the Titebond Quick and Thick, you could use that too. This isn't a must. I have just gotten very accustomed to the super glue. I like it because for the most part it sets up fast. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, right? Okay. And we'll put our little greenery in place. Just about there. Okay. Well, guys, we don't have any pieces left over, so I guess that's a good thing, right? And now let's put the finishing touches on here. So to do the center of the flowers, we're going to do them first. I use my nail head trick here. So let me get my little deal out and decide what size that might work. I got super glue on my finger. It feels weird. And now I'm going to use some of these colors like that I used in these other flowers. So I think in between the yellow and the orange, because it's got a blue flower, we're going to do blue dots. And I just dot it. I don't care if my dots are perfect. Flower centers are not perfect. No, Cinder, I've never heard of Starbond, but it's a spray. I think these little pieces, I don't know if I want to spray these little pieces. I think that's what I would be kind of leery about, but heck, I may try it. And then I think these three, I want to use the white, but I want a smaller nail head. I have all different size nail heads in here, guys. They're part of my toolbox. We're gonna dip it in the white and give them. It just juices them up just a little bit here. Oh, and we got to do the blue one. Voila. Okay. Now we're gonna rust the truck, and then all we got to do is let it dry. And to do my rust, I'm using some, what's it say? The glue is pretty much like regular super glue. The spray is sprayed on once your super glue is in place. Oh, can I see more? Huh. I'll have to check into it. Never heard of it, Cinder. We don't need a whole lot. This paint is called, well, I call it oxide. It's actually some colors that I mixed up. And don't ask me what I use because I can't tell you right now. I don't remember. But I want to use a pretty frazzled brush. So let me see here. We'll try this one. And then I'm going to dip it in my iron or my oxide. Yes, I will do that. Well, thank you, Sheila. And now I think I look at my truck and I think, okay, if a truck was going to rust, and so that's the parts of the truck that I try hitting. So, your bumper's going to rust. And I try and do random rushing. So I'm going to go across the hood like. And then we want some, like, I think we want some on the fenders or the wheels or whatever. And I want just a little bit up here on the, and then we want some back here. And again, there's not really any rhyme or reason. And then I might kind of just, brush a little bit on the rest of the truck but it will be very subtle. So here, and I'll put jute hanger on it too. But here is your Farm Fresh sign. And so this will be a in-person class in February. But if you don't like the farm, your other option, because I have a bunch of people that love gnomes. And so here is the gnome option. And it's a little girl gnome holding flower pot with a watering can. Oh, hey, Jessie, I didn't even know you were on here, sweetie. Thanks, Rita. And then you'd have the flowers too. So, and this again has some little pieces too, just like this. It's not quite so bad, guys. Like I said, you've seen that it was fairly easy to paint. But, so again, here's the gnome one. And then here is the truck one. The truck one is my favorite too, because I love old trucks, and it says Farm Fresh, and I live on a farm, so of course, I'm gonna love this one. But anyway, just wanted to pop in here and let you guys know that I am still alive and kicking. Haven't forgotten about you. I missed you guys. And in 2024, I plan on going back to doing lives and sharing my projects. So um, I want to thank all you guys for following me and supporting me in this last year. Know that I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'm wishing you all a very happy and safe new year. And I probably won't see you again till 2024. But take care. Much love. Bye.